Sister Helen Prejean, author of Dead Man Walking and prisoner activist, visited the college in November 2006. Dr. Michele Tarter watched the eyes of several eager students light up with heartfelt enthusiasm, including those of Simi Sahu. Sahu said, "The one thing that I remember most vividly about her talk was when she pointed at the screen behind her that towered several feet above her head and said, 'Imagine if the worst thing you have ever done in your entire life was put on that screen and you were labeled, judged, and punished for it for the rest of your life.' That is what these men and women go through every day." Her talk about the death penalty awakened a wave of intense passion. Soon after Sister Helen's visit, students began wondering how they could show support for prisoners who were on death row.
And she looked at them and said, "Well, write letters. Letters are the answer. You can write letters. Write women on death row. Who will be your faculty sponsor?" And she turned to me and said, "Dr. Tarter, would you be the faculty sponsor?" Why not? So we formed the group. We met about a week later, and there were about 50 people that had emailed me to speak about getting involved in this group. And the momentum was large. It was fast. Sister Helen's assistant, Carolyn, got the names of every woman on death row, gathered for us, state by state. There were 49 women total. Now there are 51. And there were as many students to give names to. So each student was given a name. And we began the journey of letter writing.
The journey of letter writing was not an easy one for the group. Some letters were returned with cryptic stamps, and others disappeared in prison mailrooms. Several of the prisoners did not respond to letters from students. Eventually, the students and inmates connected and began forging close bonds through letter writing.
Writing a letter is an old practice. Now we text on cell phones and we email on computers and laptops. But writing a letter is a different experience. It's a tactile experience, it's an intimate experience, and as old-fashioned as it may seem, it's deeply personal.
One of the greatest benefits for students and women on death row includes the connection to another human being.
I would say that the most profound benefit for students in this group is that they will indeed connect with people they would otherwise surely probably never have met, from very, very different lives and different life experiences. And by giving through the act of writing, it will feed them. It will feed the students, actually. The more we give, some people say, the more we get. And from that place, from that compassionate place, there is so much to gain. It's actually quite fun to write these letters and to receive them. It's not just fun, it's also deepening. It can be healing. It can be such a powerful, powerful exchange. And for the women in prison, the benefit is indeed profound, because they feel that society has absolutely written them off. And in most cases, society has written them off. They feel that they've been forgotten. They're on death row. It doesn't get any bleaker than that. But when they get a letter, I cannot even convey how powerful that is for them. One letter, maybe a page of writing, that they will read and read and read over and over, and just sort of ingest the words.
Dr. Tarter has an extensive background working in prisons. She began working with women in prison in 1998, and she was disturbed about the rising number of incarcerated women. The number of women in prison tripled over the course of 10 years, leading her to suspect a tremendous culprit.
And I knew something was seriously, systemically wrong. I thought and thought about it. I talked about it at length. And I kept saying, you know, I don't want to just talk about it. I want to do something about it. I feel helpless in this just monster system.
In order to fight the system, she drew on her teaching strengths to volunteer and work directly with the women. Her skills would help the women to read and write, and she realized that as a teacher of autobiography, she could help them write their life stories.
So I developed this memoir writing workshop, and the women write their life stories. It is so powerfully healing for them. It is empowering. And at the end of the session, each woman gets her bound, illustrated, typed autobiography, which she in turn generally sends to her children.
She has brought this passion for writing and self-discovery to the on-campus prisoner activist group, inkARCERATED, which she founded. Students are guided in how to connect and relate to their women through the powerful pen. Angela Chen is a member of the group. She said, "Growing up in the suburbs, death row was only a word I heard on the news. I would have never imagined being able to form a friendship with someone on death row before this year. What surprised me most was that she is more similar to me than she is different. We are both artists, and we listen to the same music. Her appreciation for life, despite the rights that she has lost, inspires me to be grateful for the opportunities ahead and to become a voice for the helpless." However, emotional support through letter writing often isn't enough to really help the women. Fundraising is another huge component of the group.
The money that the group raises is a wonderful tool for getting magazines for the women, which we've already done. When they were in Trenton State Prison, we were able to order numerous magazines for them. It also buys books, writing pads, any kind of sort of classroom material, because the prisons no longer give that kind of funding to volunteers. So we have a wonderful resource at our fingertips.
In addition to further fundraising efforts, Dr. Tarter has several new ideas for the group. With expansion, most of the women on death row already have pen pals with whom they write. Now, she says, it's time to bridge the gender gap.
It would be a bad idea to start writing men on death row, or writing prisoners who have life sentences. But there's such a desire among students to reach out and connect, and I think that that's one place where we can move forward.
For Dr. Tarter, the most powerful moment with the group came after a student shared the first letter she received from the woman she was writing to. Sau fondly remembered this experience as though looking into a window into these people's lives, and she felt that it was very educational. The group listened intently as the student read the words that were neatly written on a piece of stationery.
It was so powerful. It made all of the work in forming the organization so secondhand to the joy of what we were sharing together. And Sister Helen was absolutely right to do this. Sister Helen was our prophet. She paved the way so that we could all connect in our own separate and group ways.
The group will continue to write to its prisoners for years to come. Dr. Tarter could not be more pleased.
Everyone wins in this situation, and the power of the written word, I don't think there's anything more powerful.